Hi, this is Steve with Homestrung Jewelry, and I've got Shanda back with me today.
Hello.
And what are we doing today, Shanda?
We're going to make this pendant right here.
Okay, and it looks like there's some matching earrings that go with the pendant.
And that's just a teaser for a future video.
Okay, so the pendant is what you're going to be making today. And again, these are stones that we've had in previous subscription boxes from the Gemstone Orphanage, correct?
That's correct. This is our amethyst box.
Okay, so let's get started.
All right, for supplies, this is the blossom amethyst that we got in that box subscription.
Looks like about a 10 millimeter bead.
Yeah, and if you don't have this blossom, you can use a round bead. This one is an oval, but you can also do a round bead as I've done in this one. So we're going to do an oval for this project.
You know what the size on that oval is?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, it looks like it's about an 18 by 22.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I believe this one's 20 millimeters.
That's 20 millimeters, okay.
And this one's just slightly longer. And then accessory beads. You'll need two roundels that are roughly 3 by 4, one rondel that is 4 by 6, a round bead that's 4 millimeter, and then 4 3 millimeter beads. You will also need about 4 to 5 inches of a 20 gauge wire. You'll also need a 26 gauge wire, about 30 inches, and another one that is 12 inches long.
Again, that's 20 gauge, you say?
This is 26 gauge.
26 gauge,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, this one's 26, and this is 20 gauge. So you'll need a total of 42 inches for the 26 gauge, cut into two pieces, a 30-inch piece and a 12-inch piece.
Okay, what about tools?
Tools, you'll need chain nose, flat nose, round nose, and some trimmers. Hopefully not as bad as mine.
Yeah, those are flush cutters. Wow, those are really...
I've loaned them out to people, and this is the end results.
This is why you never loan your expensive flush cutters out to somebody else who's into something like memory wire. If you have some expensive flush cutters, you only use them to cut soft wire. Okay, while Shanda starts there, I'll go see if I can find some better flush cutters for her.
Oh, and we'll need a ruler.
These are Shanda's loaner pliers. Here's mine. This is why you don't loan them out, people.
All right. Anyway, let's start with the 20 gauge wire. We'll grab the round nose pliers, and roughly about an inch from the end, we're just going to make a wire wrap loop. So just a real simple wire wrap loop.
Yeah, if you need help with the wire wrap loops, we have a video that tells how to do that. I'll post it here.
And usually I like to do 2 wraps around the neck. And I'll use my dad's pliers since he finds them less embarrassing.
Those are my loaner pliers. I didn't bring out my good ones for her. Obviously, she can't be trusted.
I'm not the one that dinged them up. All right, we're going to grab that blossom or a round bead if that's all you have. And we're going to make sure this loop is facing towards you. And we're going to grip the top of that bead at the top. We're going to make another wire wrap loop, but a little different. So we're going to break the neck. So we got that 90-degree bend. Come up, and we're going to do the thick part of your pliers. So the really, really thick part of the pliers. And we're going to make 2 loops. So 2 loops. And then I'm going to finish wrapping around that neck. And if you need to, you can grab a little bit with another plier. And you're going to trim them. And always tuck in those ends. We don't want any pokies.
Yeah, it looks like the loop is just under 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/16 of an inch.
I just did the fat part, so.
Yeah, well.
So you're looking roughly about 5 millimeters. And if you're into inches, yeah, roughly 1/4 of an inch, a little under 1/4.
Yeah, not all round nose pliers are created equal,
No.
so you just have to be a little careful.
And then we're going to make the bunny ears.
I love the bunny ears.
So we just I take my wide nose and I just widen those bunny ears.
So we have a bell.
We have a bell. All right. So we're just going to put this off to the side. Next thing, you're going to find a scrap piece of 20 gauge wire. All right. Any 20 gauge wire, doesn't matter. And we're going to coil. So we're going to do this part right here. We're just going to make the little coil. And if you've never done coiling, you basically want to hold on the end and very tightly just start wrapping around the 20 gauge. And this is the 12-inch 26 gauge wire you're going to use. And you want to coil about a good inch. So I'll just keep coiling here until I get my 1-inch length of coiling. If you find that there's a little bit of gaps, you can just push it in, and that kind of helps. If you need to, you can grab wide nose or chain nose and squish it down a little bit. You can also slide it like this as well to kind of close those gaps in between. But by the time you get it on another wire and you wrap it around, gaps aren't going to be as noticeable, but you do want to try to get rid of as many gaps as you can. Alright, I got my 1 inch of wire wrap. I'm going to trim. Alright, and then I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there's going to be a slight little pokey that if you rub your fingers you're going to grab. And those little grabby things, if you're wearing this against a blouse, it's just going to tear that blouse up. So we want to tuck them in. And so you just take your chain nose or wide nose, doesn't matter, and just gently tuck them in so that when you rub your finger over it, you don't feel it. All right, once you've got it, you can just slide it off, and there's your 1 inch coil. And we'll put that off to the side. All right, so fun part, we're going to take
I thought that was the fun part. So.
Not quite. All right, so we're going to take our 26 gauge wire that's measured out to roughly 30 inches. You're going to take your ruler and you're going to measure 6 inches. All right, so you're going to have a short end and a long end. And you can take your wide nose or chain nose. You're going to make a 90-degree bend. All right. All right, and what we're going to do, I'm going to teach you, we're going to make that little coil at the very bottom of the bead. So we're going to grab your round nose pliers, and at the tip of the bend, and this is the long side, well, this is the short, so you're going to grip at that corner, and you're going to take the long side, and you're going to make a spiral. All right, and you're just going to keep going around till you can't go any further. Then you'll switch to the chain nose or the wide nose, and we're just going to continue making this spiral. And you're doing this with the long, you're making the spiral with the long side of, or the long side of this 26 gauge wire. And you're just going to go around a few times. allowing that spiral, that closed spiral, to get bigger and bigger. All right, and you want this roughly, as you can see the measurements. So a little under 1/4 of an inch. Looks like maybe 3/8.
3/16.
3/16 of an inch. If we do millimeters,
Yeah,
it's about 5. All right. All right. So that long end, we're going to bring that into the center. So you're just going to drag it to the center. And again, with the same chain nose or wide nose, you're just going to make another 90-degree bend up against. So it's matching with the short wire. So you got the short wire and the long wire. Next thing we're going to do is you're going to take your little roundel, and this is the 4x6, and you're going to thread it through the top of the long wire. And as it comes down, you want to make sure you catch the short end as well. So you got both ends of the wire going through the bead. You're going to bring that down, back down to that coil.
And push it in tight.
Push it in a little bit, yeah. So it's flushed up against that bead.
Cool.
All right. All right, then you're going to again take the long 26 gauge wire, and we're going to go wrap it around. We're going to make another closed coil. And I'm using my finger now to kind of anchor that wire down to get a loop. All right, and we're just going to keep looping around. I'm going to go around a few times so that you guys can see that. All right, so we're going to go around, and the same thing you did with the bottom one. We're going to drag that wire to the center. The wide nose pliers, you're going to 90-degree bend and combine it again, just kind of like we did. All right, so from here, we're going to grab our oval bead, the oval bead or a 20 millimeter round.
Yeah, whatever the focal will be.
Whatever the focal. Some boxes had rounds, some had ovals. So I tried to make this design versatile. And we're going to thread the oval bead on both wire ends. And we're going to catch the shorter end. So once again, you got both wire ends going through the focal bead. All right, now you're going to grab this little bell that we made earlier, and we're going to thread it, just the long one, not the short one. We're going to thread the long one through this bottom hole. This top part is our bell. This is where the chain's going to go through, or leather cording, whatever you choose. So we're just going to thread through the bottom loop, and we're going to bring it down to the pendant bead. This wire, we want to put it behind. So make sure that goes behind the blossom bead or the round bead, whichever one you're using. And then we're just going to drag the long 26 gauge wire, we're going to drag it down to the center. All right. Now we're going to grab our small little beads. So we got the 3 millimeter round silver beads. We got the 3 millimeter silver beads, your 4 millimeter round bead, 3x4 crystal roundels, and you got 2 of them. So we're going to take those beads and we're going to thread a silver bead, the crystal roundel, another silver bead. We're going to grab the 4 millimeter amethyst, another 3 millimeter silver bead, the crystal bead, and then finish with another 3 millimeter round. So that is the pattern. So we got silver, crystal, silver, amethyst, silver, crystal, silver. So, and we're just going to bring that right up to the front. And that's your decoration. And then very carefully, you're going to pull back that crystal along with that coil, and we're going to try to rethread it back in through that hole. So we're threading that long end back into that hole and back up through the top and pull it down snug. All right. And then I once again go through the little wire wrap loop on the peach blossom charm dangle, the link.
Just the loop on the link.
Yeah, just the loop again, just to kind of help reinforce that a little bit. So we don't have one wire holding that down. We have at least 2 wires. Last thing you want is this project to break on you. And then always go through and you can straighten out your wire. I use my fingers. And then we're going to come down and we're going to wrap around between the coil and the focal bead, and we're going to wrap back up, and we're going to come around to the back side, and we're going to do that 4 full turns. And do want it tight to kind of help hold it all together. And I'm trying to bring the wires together so they lay a little bit better. But yeah, you just keep following that pattern. Until you got 4 wires on one side, 4 wires on the other side. All right, you're going to take that end and we're just going to wrap it around everything. Make sure that wire's in the back. So we're going to wrap around everything. Now you're going to take that coil, that 1-inch coil, and we're going to thread it through the end.
Which wire?
That's the
long one.
Yeah, that's the 1-inch coil that we did. And oh yeah, and you want it on the long wire. You want it on the long wire, and we're going to start on the back side. And you're going to kind of hold that coil in because this is going to move quite a bit. And we're just going to wrap around. This kind of hides everything. So we're going to wrap around and just kind of lay on top of that. And then and we got maybe a little bit too much, so you can always undo it. Take the coil off, and you can trim a little bit of the excess. Thread the coil back on the long end. And then go at it again. Sometimes when you coil, sometimes the coil might relax a little bit and cause it to be wider than you intended. All right, so I got that on the back, I got that on the front. And then to finish off, we're going to take both wires this time and we're going to treat them as one. And we're going to bring both wires to the front and just going to go diagonally across the bead and up to the top, and we're just going to coil around the neck with the finer wires. We're just going to go back over those 20 gauges, the 20 gauge coils, and you want to try to make it as nice as you can.
Kind of going from bottom to top?
Yeah, going from bottom to top. I'm on the back side, so I'm going to trim those ends. and tuck. And we're just going to find a spot and kind of tuck, and maybe tuck around one of those bell prongs. All right.
Just need to adjust a
Yeah,
little.
and we'll probably want to come in and make some adjustments. So make some adjustments with those wires so they lay the way you want them to.
Yeah, you could probably do all sorts of fun things with this if you wanted. You don't have to leave them straight.
No, you don't. You can zigzag them.
You could zigzag them with pliers or
Come up with your own designs.
Pull them out, push them in.
Let's adjust bunny ears a bit.
Whoa, it spins.
And there's the pendant bead. And then if you want to, you can add a chain to it. And there we go, the finished product.
You have a necklace with a pendant. That's cool. Well, again, if you're interested in this project and possibly in printed instructions, let us know in the comments and we can prepare them. Also, if you remember, she has a matching set of earrings as well that we can do in another project if you'd be interested. In the meantime, be sure and click the like button to help us out a little bit. If you aren't already a subscriber, go ahead and check that as well. And if you ring the bell, you'll be notified when we have another tutorial or a box opening that's coming along. In the meantime, thanks for coming today, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you for your time.